It's time for us to get interactive. Let's talk about today's issue, which is one that has been in the pipeline for quite some time now. And we're talking about the minimum wage conversation and how the Nigeria Labour Congress is proposing the sum of 600,000 plus as its new figure going forward as far as the new minimum wage figure is concerned. There have been the regional discussions where so many other numbers were thrown out there, but the NLC is now saying 615,000 naira is enough to help Nigerian workers cope with the many economic realities and the high living cost in the country. The labor unions also said the current minimum wage of 30,000 naira can no longer cater to the well-being of average Nigerians, and there is no gainsaying that. They have lamented that not all governors, by the way, are paying the current minimum wage of 30,000 naira, which of course is not enough to address the current issues, as well as the wage award, which was also set to expire this April. 5 years after the Minimum Wage Act of 2019 was signed by former President Muhammadu Buhari, the act is to be reviewed every 5 years to meet up with contemporary economic demands of Nigerian workers.
Which was
Where do you stand?
One of the best things that the former president did for Nigerians, at least saying, okay, after 5 years there should be a sit down.
But that's always been the procedure. After every 5 years you review.
But was it really done? Was it carried out?
We haven't done it in the latter years of the Goodluck administration. Exactly. But even after Buhari took over, it took longer than expected for it to be negotiated. I mean, he came in 2015. We couldn't get it done until 2019. Which is in itself saying a lot about the commitment of the government. But let's have your take on this one. 615,000. Is it feasible? What do you make of it? I would love to be paid, this new minimum wage. But is it sustainable?
But let's not forget. NLC has actually broke its bone just to come down to this level.
This is the asking price.
They actually were foreseeing ₦1 million. And then the TUC gave about, I think, 450,000 naira figure at that time. But then now this is them collaborating, sitting down to say, okay, this is what should be at least foreseeable. It should be something that the government should be able to deliver. Considering, we see people siphoning a lot of money.
Okay, I think we have our first caller on the show, so let's speak to our first caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Yes, we can hear you. Please come again with your name and your location. I'm afraid you're going to have to try again. Just end the call and give it another try, because I don't think the connection is good enough for us to have a meaningful conversation. A quick reminder, rules of engagement. While calling in, please turn down the volume of your TV set. Be as concise as you can so that we can hear multiple views on this particular issue. State your name and your location and go straight ahead with your point of view on this one. 615,000, that is the new figure that the NLC is working with as proposal for new minimum wage, as the committee continues to sit and deliberate on the best way forward. We want to get your take on this as a Nigerian and hopefully as a worker, what you make of this new proposal. Surely it looks too good to be true, but this is what the NLC is going ahead as far as its proposal is concerned. So, whether the government's counter is going to be a 50% slash, I don't know what it's going to look like, but we understand that the current economic realities leaves much to be desired, that the 30,000 naira is no longer feasible. And to even make matters worse, some governors are not even paying the 30,000 naira minimum wage. Neither were they paying the wage awards that were supposed to cushion the effect and the impact of subsidy removal. Our next caller is on. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Lawal Bichi. I'm calling from Bichi, Kano State.
Oh, Lawal from Bichi.
Yeah.
Lawal, thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead.
Thank you. I have seen the proposal for the labor demand of 615,000 naira for the minimum wage.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I am seeing is that the the fear is that it's for the state government that they will not pay. Even now, the state government didn't even say 30,000. There are many states that cannot say 30,000 minimum wage now. But to Labour to demand 615,000 minimum wage, I think that even the federal government cannot do that.
Right. So what do you think, Lawal, is a fair amount to ask? I mean, this is a bargaining strategy, I suppose. It's a negotiation tactics. But what do you think is feasible?
You see, on Friday when you open your network, your line for contribution before some months ago, we have given a contribution that the federal government should make the minimum wage to be 100,000. I remember some that are saying 150, but 615, I know that the government will not pay that. I'm a civil servant. I am a federal civil servant, and now I'm not talking.
Right.
I know that the government will not pay this 615.
Okay.
Due to economic situation that we are now.
Yeah.
I'm a civil servant. I'm working 32 years now. I know that the government will not pay that 615,000.
I'm sure you would welcome it if they're able to, but let's be realistic, right?
But the realistic is that Labour should pick the appropriate money that the state government will pay, and even the federal government will pay. This is the truth. This is the line that the Labour should take.
Right.
But this 615,000. I know that no government in Nigeria will pay this minimum wage.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I mean, we're speaking to an insider on this one.
Indeed.
And,
but for me, I just feel like Nigerians. I feel like Nigerians were giving government a pass. We're making it easy for them, saying, "Oh, we know they cannot pay." Of course, they can pay. One person is caught taking billions of naira and even dollars.
No, there's a difference between stealing. There's a difference between stealing and nobody's being paid billions. In terms
they should. We're not asking for billions, but then honestly, I feel it's something that the federal government can do, because considering Nigerian has a money. Okay. Yes, we do have money.
Maybe Sumaya knows something that we don't. Let's speak to our next caller.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah,
good morning.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Dr. Nabode, calling from Kogi State.
Dr. Nabode from Kogi, good morning to you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, the minimum wage 615,000 is too ridiculous. There's no any state government that can pay such amount.
Right.
And moreover, how much is that ministry, those staff, how much are they generating their respective ministries to contribute to the government? Honestly, that minimum wage is not feasible. It's too high.
Well, it's a demand. What do you think is reasonable, doctor? What do you think is reasonable?
Honestly, at least if they can upgrade the minimum wage to 50,000, I think that would be better.
Right, 50,000.
So why do I feel that you are part of the government? Because how is 50,000 a fair amount with this economic hardship?
If you look at it, let's take a local government staff, for example. How much are they generating as revenue back to the quota of the government? The amount they are generating is too low. And then if you are to pay them that ridiculous amount, then definitely the state government will not have any other option than to reduce some of those staff. Like local government, you'll be seeing that maybe 100 staff will be working in local government if at all they want to meet up that minimum wage. Yeah. So honestly, that 615 is too high.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. It doesn't make economic sense to bend over backwards just to pay salaries, because at the end of the day, we're taking all the money that we have just to pay salaries, and there would not be enough to maintain services like infrastructure development and so on and so forth, education and all of that, which are things that we need to consider. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining the conversation. Really appreciate your take on this one. Listen, Sumaya, like I said,
even though I feel doctor is defending.
No. But also there has to be an element of practicality in the conversation. Most of our subnationals depend on federal allocation to run the affairs of government.
Now that is what
But you also have to understand that recurrent expenditure, for instance, right, is taking a significant part of our budget every year. right? And it supersedes capital expenditure, for instance. Capital expenditure is where you make the investment in infrastructure, you make investment in healthcare, in education and things like that. But if you take a huge chunk just to pay, like say 10% of the population, right, which is workers, because you have to also understand that there are more Nigerians who are not working for government than there are Nigerians who are working for government. Yeah. And then you also have to think about the implication on businesses, because businesses like ours, for instance, who are in the private sector, also have to abide by the new minimum wage. Now, can they do it? Because it means that they have to lay people off now just so they can afford to pay the new minimum wage. So this is the whole impact of negotiating at a reasonable price, or rather, as a reasonable fee that, you know, not just the federal government can do, but also the subnationals and then the private sector.
The subnational are getting away with it easily. Now, talking about allocation, these people collect chunk load of, money from the federal government every year on a year basis. And then when you go to the states, and when you go to the states, there is nothing to show for it. The people are not really benefiting. The infrastructure of the states is really lacking.
But not all of them.
That's why I said some of the states. But then with all of this happening, Abdullah, you realize that these people have been getting, an easy way out. And we made mention of this, the fact that the state assembly are not really, holding people accountable, especially the governor and his and their deputy on what should be done, what should happen. But I feel like when this minimum wage increases, maybe not the 615, it will definitely put them on their toes. Because when you as an employer know that you'd have to pay a lot, you have to strategize and find ways to generate more, revenue.
Trust me, what we have to get right in this country is learning to vote for the right people, not voting out of sentiment. When we vote the right people in power at local, at state, and at national level, they would find an outside-of-the-box type of approach to generating more. The issue is we're not generating enough to warrant this level of increment as far as our wage bill is concerned. But that on the side, let's speak to another caller. Hello, good morning and welcome to the program. Please turn down the volume of your TV set and let's have a conversation. State your name and your location.
I don't even think that person was aware that his call was picked because it seemed to be away from his phone.
So let's try that again. Please turn on the volume of your TV set while calling in and feel free to state your name and your location. Let's speak to the next one then. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to the program. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
Mr. Jonathan. I'm calling from Ondo State.
Mr. Jonathan from Ondo State. Good morning to you. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning. The issue of this minimum wage, the union has to be very careful for this minimum wage. The issue of this 615,000 to pay the worker. See, it's not how far, it's how well. Not how far, it's how well. Because it's not the one they will permit that they cannot pay. But the time of 30,000, many of the states cannot even afford to pay that 30,000 to workers. Now, they are talking of 650,000. You see, what they are trying to do now is the federal government, they are even discussing this. They know what they are doing. Federal government know that they are going to own workers because they are forcing federal government to do this. They are forcing federal government to do this. Federal government just want to agree this one amicably with them. So what they are supposed to do now, the union is supposed to do now, is to make sure that food are reduced, so that when any amount they approve, like one man said just now, 50,000. If they pay 50,000 and they are able to make use of that 50,000 to satisfy them for anything they want to do, that one is better than to approve 650,000. Even they use that money to go to market, they will use everything to buy food for us. It will not use anything.
In an ideal situation, we would love to. Everybody would be loved to pay it higher, but also
Indeed.
I understand your point about being realistic about what can be done in a sustainable manner. And if what we're currently having is not in itself being fully implemented, that leaves much questions about what the NLC and the TUC are trying to achieve with these new figures that we're seeing. Thank you so much, Mr. Jonathan, for joining the conversation. Also, I think with regards to the subnationals, for instance, there are some who are just not willing to do that. It doesn't mean that there's not enough money for the states to pay. But I think, Sumaya, there's someone on the line.
Indeed. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Your name and location, please.
I'm Moses calling from Cross River State.
Moses, it's good to have you from Cross River. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Thank you. The minimum wage issue is that it's achievable if the government determined to do so. Looking at the cost of governance in Nigeria, especially on the legislative arm and the executive, considering the present economic situation of the country, 615,000 is a welcome development for the workers to be able to pay their children's school fees, feed their families at a time like this. So it's left for the government. Anybody that is saying it's not achievable, that person don't want to help this country because in all ramifications you would understand that the cost of living in this country, even 615,000 is too small for a family upkeep.
Mr. Moses,
I'm of the opinion.
If I can just ask, you're well aware of everything that's in the public domain about our borrowing, how we're borrowing to finance our budget because we don't have enough money. Are you saying that the government should bend over backwards, even go bankrupt to pay this amount just to meet the Nigerian workers' demands?
What we are saying is, if they can stop the looting in this country, there is enough money. If one person can loot over $100 and something billion from the same country, and we are saying there is no money, are we not deceiving ourselves? Then what of the monies they have been recovering from the last administration to this administration? Where are that money?
Thank you so much, Moses.
I think you've made some valid points there, even though we can disagree about the numbers. But Mr. Moses, thank you so much for joining the conversation. I understand the sentiment that most of us have about
honestly, I was excited the moment he said this is something that is foreseeable. This is something that could happen. I'm like, okay, finally, someone is on my side. He pointed out the cost of governance.
It's wishful thinking, Sumaya, if we're going to be honest. Just do the maths, right? If a state, for instance, has an average of, say, 25,000 people on its payroll, let's just work with 25, for instance, and you pay each of them 650,000
and
15,000. This is the budget. just to pay salaries per month.
Yeah, that
without doing anything else.
It could work. Okay. We have another caller. Good morning.
Let's just break the bank then. Hello, good morning.
Please turn down the volume of your TV and talk to us through your phone. Are you with us? All right, I think we would have to let that person go. Most times you dial the number and you're not really paying attention to see if we've picked your call, considering, there's a lot of traction. So please take advantage of that. If you're dialing, put the phone on, your ear so that you get to hear us when we pick the call, and turn down the volume of your TV. All right, good morning.
Hello?
Yeah, good morning.
My name is Harry. I'm calling from Macroeconomic.
Sorry, come again?
My name is I'm calling from Macroeconomic.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Go ahead.
Okay. To me, the 615 is not realizable. Can never be realized.
Why do you say that?
The issue is not all about the minimum. The issue is not about the figures. The issue is about the government regulating the economy so that the prices of things so that demand and supply can regulate the price of things. Because the government can never fix the price of things. If, for instance, somebody got a minimum wage of 18,000 naira, a bag of rice was below 10,000 naira, that cannot be realized now. If the government should increase the minimum wage to 615, automatically, how about the unemployed? Because the prices of goods and services in the market will skyrocket, and it's going to affect the common man, the people in the village. How are they going to cope? So, this thing is like a two-edged sword. They need to look at it from both angles. The minimum wage should not be increased. Rather, they should work on the economy so that demand and supply can fix up things. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think that's a very valid point that we need to also bring to light. Put the spotlight on lowering the cost of living. So we're talking about subsidies now, or at least getting some sort of regulation in place that can allow for effective price control. I know the FCPCC was just talking about arbitrary pricing and how Nigerians can report traders and business merchants and things like that. But if you lower the cost of living, Nigerians wouldn't have to demand for more.
So high.
It's just that the money in the pockets of Nigerians is not able to achieve what it used to achieve, right? So it's about inflation. It's about managing inflation. We've seen that with the interest rate hike that is supposed to bring the inflationary figures down. We see that the Naira is performing better against the dollar. However, all of that is not enough because Nigerians still want it to translate to better living conditions for them. They want to go to the market and still be able to afford chicken and still be able to afford the staple foods and things like that. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for joining the conversation. State your name, please, and your location, and go ahead with your thoughts.
I'm Musa Muhammadu, calling from Taraba State.
Musa Muhammadu from Taraba State. That state is famous for not paying salaries, by the way. Go ahead, Musa.
Okay. What I want to say, my contribution is this minimum wage.
Please talk to us through your phone. Don't listen to yourself through your TV.
It's not too much at all. I'm saying it's not too much. This 615 is not too much. Because you see, this our country have so many. We have money. The issue is that all what we have is this legislation. They are the ones chopping our money. I have a friend of mine which will voted for him. Before he has nothing. But now if you go to his house, if you see his motor park only, he has about 10 motors. Where are they getting all this money? Is it their salary? Has it been that they are there to help the Nigerians? They know the situation we are in. They have to implement at least what will help the poorest in Nigeria.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
He did not do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just want you to wrap up your point. Yeah. Go ahead.
So the contribution I want to make here, please, I'm begging the legislation. Let them implement another constitution that will help the people of Nigeria be getting what they will help us.
Okay, thank you so much, Musa. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we're out of time,
Indeed.
but we appreciate your contribution. But like I did say, there are some of these states that are notorious for not paying state workers their salaries. I remember during DDI's time, that was Darius Ishaku's time, the Taraba State University situation is still there. Benue State is one of those states. Osun State famously went 8 to 9 months during Arabashola's time without salaries. Plateau State also to a certain degree. And there are so many of these states that are not pulling their weight, that are not living up to expectation. But like I did say, more often than not, while we like to talk about the corruption within the system, it's about the people we put in those positions during our elections that end up underperforming. So maybe we also have to take responsibility for our own role in creating this problem by electing the proper people, the ones that have the proper motivation to bring about sustainable change, growth and development in our society. And perhaps we wouldn't be discussing.
Things will change. And let's even put this out there, Abdul. The NLC and the TUC are coming out to say this is what we're demanding, but there's still room for negotiation.
I think this is from the NLC. The TUCs also has their own number.
Exactly. Okay,
the number is much lower though.
Yeah, I knew it was much lower. I think 450,000. But then, okay, the NLC are putting this out. They're saying this is what we want, but then definitely there is a room for negotiation. And I believe that the NLC are fighting for Nigerians, so they're just keeping the governments, on their toes to say if you want it a bit lesser, then you have to do the needful, put the necessary infrastructure in place to make Nigerians
do not hold
easy.
your breath. You're not getting 615k a month.
You are getting
it's
it. Don't
not
worry.
Happening.
We're going to push for it.
We're going to take a quick break.